Hey, it's Mike Henry with Follower of One, and today's passage is Psalm 27, verses 13 and 14. I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. I picked this verse because it's a favorite. I've not had a good couple of days, and it's because of my own shortcomings. I get frustrated, and maybe you do too, with my own inability to persist through some difficulties. There are certain things that trip me up, my own failures and my own coming up short, my own inability to remember certain things or to make the right choices. My tendency to follow the same patterns and do the same things frustrates me. And I don't know if you ever experienced that frustration or not, but it frustrates me. And I talked about it in yesterday's podcast, and I'm going to talk about it again today. This is a verse that I come back to, and it's hard to come back to. I use the New American Standard for that translation. The New International Version says, I am still confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. I am confident of this. When I'm sane, when I can settle down and not be angry and about my own repeated, persistent kind of missing the mark, I can remember and I can remain confident that I will see God's goodness and I will see the Lord and what's going on. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I do trust Him. I trust that He will use my failures and He will use my mistakes. He uses the challenges and the things that happen. In my own mind, I would fire me. In my own mind, I would reprimand me for not doing the right things, and I become my own negative self-talk. And I see the psalmist here. He turns to God and he says, I am confident of this. I will see God's goodness. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I like the New American Standard because he says, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. So I choose not to despair. Like it says in 2 Corinthians 4, we are afflicted in every way but not crushed, perplexed but not despairing, persecuted but not forsaken, struck down but not destroyed, always carrying about in our body the dying of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus might be manifest in our body. You have a job today in your workplace. Maybe you just failed. Or maybe you're thinking about, why would I want to listen to a guy on a podcast who fails? That's up to you. In my mind, I think we have this challenge where we all know that we fail. We all know that we don't measure up. Deep down in the back of our brains, we all know that we don't do as well as we could. If I were God, I would have gotten somebody else to do my job because I seem to always fall short. But I trust Him because I believe that He doesn't make mistakes. I believe that His will and His power and His strength will fill in for me today and will make up the ground that I've blown or that I've lost or the mistakes that I've made. Yes, I wanted to meet with a friend yesterday and I dropped the ball. I really just dropped the ball. But God's bigger than that. But it's a constant reminder for me that I'm not perfect. And so today, I want to give grace to my friends. I want to give grace to the people around me. I want to be someone who can give some extra slack or some extra encouragement or some extra blessing to people who I work with who may be feeling the same way. I want to remember that my own failures make me human, keep me from being arrogant, and they're God's design to draw me to Him. And so when my friends have difficulties, I want to be praying for them and I want to help them draw near to Christ and see Him in their lives and in our workplaces and in everything that we do. So today, pray for your coworkers and remember that God's in charge. I believe I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, and you will too. Therefore, all we must do is wait for the Lord. We can be strong and let our hearts take courage. Today, share some of that courage with your coworkers. Thanks for being a follower of One. Thanks for listening to these podcasts. Look for the joy that God has for you as we obey Him. And it's in that He will be glorified. Thanks again.